Our mental state is declining, just like our potential. Welcome to the first episode of the Waste of Potential podcast. I'm Clay, and as always, I'm joined with my co-host Jameson. Jameson, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm alive. Modern media cannot compare to the extensive research that me and my partner have gone through this week to bring you weird news. Jameson, can you start us today with our off-topic news?
As a matter of fact, I can. Starting off today, I have an Indonesian coffin maker that becomes an instant millionaire after a $1.8 million space rock crashes into his living room. Sources say that it was approximately 4.5 billion years old.
Why exactly does that matter? Why is that important to the news article?
On to the next subject. Famous director Spike Lee has changed direction in career. Being a notable film director, he has now started his new venture in life where he is going to direct a musical about Viagra. Have you ever seen such a career change in your lifetime?
I personally have never met anyone like that. I have read some stuff about some people. There was a, he was an Olympic athlete. It was a decathlon, I believe, he participated in. He was in the news a lot a couple of years ago, and people still really seem to like him. He's just kind of existing. He's rich. He's an Olympic athlete, but it doesn't really know what.
Was he a part of the Transformers series? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't believe he ever performed in the Transformer movies.
Okay. That will bring us to our next topic. What was the weather for this week?
Moving on. So, the weather for this week. All of our weather is through IBM. So, if you don't trust them, just completely ignore what I'm about to tell you. But
I do anyway.
If you do trust them, we are looking at the weather for, what days are we looking for?
23rd.
23rd?
Yeah.
The week of the 23rd, we're looking about, on the 23rd exactly, we're looking about 39 degrees, partly sunny, with the high is 39 and a low of 26. For the 24th, we're looking at a high 38, low of 34, so it's getting a little warmer. Halfway through the week, we're looking at about 44 and 35. The 26th, we're rocking a warm 47 and a low of 35. That's the warmest it's supposed to get out of that entire week. Next, we have on the 27th is a 43. No ads. 43 degrees with a low of 31, and finally we're going to end the week with a high 39 and a low of 23, and that 28th is the only day where it's supposed to be rainy.
Is it supposed to be another windy week?
From this, it's not saying it's supposed to be windy, but it's Michigan. If there's no wind, it's pretty interesting day.
You know,
so
I was hoping it would just be consistent, like they just get a little layer of snow and I'd be fine with that, and if it just stayed cold, but it's just going to be all over the place.
Yeah, 47 isn't crazy warm, but it's also not going to be in the freezing temperatures, so that rain is going to just be rain. So.
And all the birds are down south already.
It's just going to be another crappy week in Michigan. Speaking of birds, though, I also found an article that's about a racing pigeon. I didn't even know they raced pigeons. But a pigeon named New Kim was recently sold for $1.9 million. It's a bird.
What do you do with a bird?
They don't really tell you about the sport, just that it's a racing thing.
Do they have to fly through a tunnel?
I don't know. It did say that on Sunday before it was bought, it was just in like the last hour that the auction started going off, and it was sold for that. 2 Chinese bidders, it says, drove up the price by 280,000 euros. So it's a bird at the end of the day. It's a bird.
And what do you do with a bird that's worth that much?
I don't know.
I'd feel bad pinning it up. I mean,
It's
if
like-
a racing bird. Shouldn't you let it go race?
It's like buying a stupid expensive dog. Essentially, it's gonna die.
Well, it's
one
even
day.
less operational than a dog.
Right, it's a bird. What do you do with a bird? A dog can at least be like, "Ah." A bird just sits in the cage, or in this case, races. I really don't understand.
What are you gonna go up to people on the street? Just, hey, you want to race against my bird?
I think they were like a breeder. I think this is saying. So maybe they got it so they can
Make more
Breed.
racing birds.
make more racing birds. I guess I don't know. I'd still rather watch golf than watching a bird fly around in a circle. But that's
Well,
just
maybe it's not even a circle. Maybe it's just a sprint, like drag race. It's a pigeon drag race.
it's just a pigeon flying in a straight line.
Maybe they have to go back and forth. You know, this could be interesting.
It says it says these record prices are unbelievable because this is a female. So that tells me they were a breeder and they bought it because usually a male is worth more than a female because it can produce more offspring. That doesn't make any sense. It says it just said it said the numbers are unbelievable because it's a female, but it says that the males go for more.
Is it just because it's a female that can race?
I guess. It's just a pigeon. Like there's no point in even like bringing up a picture. It's just a pigeon. If you imagine New York City, imagine a pigeon. That's what you got.
It's just like a not obese pigeon. Is it more muscular?
It just looks like a pigeon. That's it. It just looks like a pigeon. It's just a pigeon. That's fast, I guess. Huh?
Well, now I'd say it's time for our main topic of today, as it focuses on a little more relevant news. The Michigan Health Department has released some new restrictions focused on saving lives from COVID-19. I'm just going to go through the list here of some of the things that are allowed to be open.
Okay.
We've got 2 household gatherings with high precautions, which mean probably wearing masks.
So if my family wanted to come over to your family's Thanksgiving, that could happen.
Right.
Okay.
Hair salons, barbershops, and other personal services are allowed to stay open, I'm sure with masks and things. Small outdoor gatherings with 25 people or less, which I find interesting. I'm not sure how you find a statistic.
So how does
on
the
that.
family thing fall into that? Because I don't have a family of 12 people. So if we have it outside, if we have an outside Thanksgiving, as long as we're within 25 people, you could have 5 families show up.
I guess.
Logic.
Gyms and pools for individual exercise, so you're going to have to be socially distanced from everybody. Retail will stay open.
Okay.
Restaurants and bars, but only outdoor dining and takeout and delivery will be open. So everything inside will be shut down
So the bars are still open.
for takeout, delivery, and outdoor dining. If you've ever seen an outdoor dining bar.
Okay.
We also have our preschool through 8th grade, which will also be a part of the local school district's choice. I guess that goes without saying. We are being sent home right now. Professional sports will be allowed to continue, but without any spectators.
Not our sports, though.
Nope. Child care will be open. Parks and outdoor recreation will be open. Manufacturing, construction, and other work that is impossible to do remotely will stay open. Funerals with 25 people will stay open. Public transit and
Okay,
healthcare.
wait, pause. So with the funeral thing, does the person in the casket count?
That's a valid point.
Do they count?
I'm assuming they don't, but
Why? It's a human being. It's a person.
well, would you even be allowed to go to the cemetery then? So it's full of them. There's probably a few hundred. I mean, at least they're distance. I don't know if they're 6 feet apart.
You probably have to be alive, like you said.
Probably. Okay, now to some things that aren't open. Our high schools have been shut down.
Hence why we're here.
Yep. Theaters, movie theaters, and stadiums and arenas are shut down. That is not going to help.
That doesn't make any sense because the sports are played in stadiums. Well, then the fans aren't. Never mind.
Our colleges and universities that are able to send people home must. Bowling centers, ice skating rinks, and indoor water parks are all closed. Bingo halls, casinos, arcades, all closed.
What?
I know.
I don't
miss your Sunday bingo.
I don't get to go. Oh, Sunday bingo. Darn.
Our restaurants and bars for indoor dining will be closed. Our group fitness classes, one Clay looks forward to every week.
Yeah.
His yoga.
Yeah, big yoga guy. Big yoga guy.
Our workplaces, when you can work from home, will be closed. And organized sports, except for professional sports, are also closed. And that is their main list without going into huge details. What do you think about that?
I think it's just the sports thing bothers me because, well, it's our senior year, as some of you may or may not know. I wanted to play basketball. I was really, really looking forward to playing basketball, and it's not gonna happen now. Our age demographic is one of the least affected by it, but out of all the high school and all the elementary, our school's small enough, everyone's in the same building, we're getting sent home because we are more likely than the younger kids to get them, but it's still really, really low. There was before we went into this lockdown quarantine, we were watching CNN 10, and they said that, not just for high school, all around, it said that the mortality rate was 99.9%. That's just, I don't know where they got that. That's what they said. So, CNN, if you're wrong, it's your fault. But
yeah, the death rate's less than 0.01%.
So
statistics.
That's grouping everyone together.
And that's America as a whole, not counting super rural areas like Carolina, Tuscola County. Yeah, we have some of the highest numbers out of any of the states, but I still want to play sports. And if I have a 99.9% chance of not dying, even if I get it, I want to play basketball. And you think the personal responsibility you should be allowed to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah.
And your family.
And I understand if some people are not necessarily afraid, but they just don't want to take the risk.
Right.
Then don't play.
There's risk with everything.
Yeah, don't play. If you don't want to, just don't play. And then I can go play the kids that want to play in Caseville. I can go play the kids that want to play in Flint if we have a game down there. I don't know who we're playing, who we're supposed to play.
Well, and going back to the mortality rate, what I've always found interesting was, statistically, the states that have had a much stricter lockdown for longer periods of time, the death rate in those states is significantly higher than those without strict lockdowns and shorter lockdowns. Whether that just be herd immunity or imbalance of statistics, it's still a significant number that it kind of proves a point when all these people, especially politicians, they say, I'm listening to the experts. I'm listening to the leaders in the field. These statistics were released by the CDC, and everyone seemed to ignore them.
I don't know. One thing I don't understand about the list that's shown is the gym and the pools, and then the restaurant and the bars. The bars and the restaurants are only for takeout. as you said, and the gyms and the pools are for individual exercise.
Right.
If I go to the pool
Yep.
that's public over in the town over,
Yep.
they can't drain the pool, refill it,
Yep.
and make sure it's all clean of my COVID before you or someone else goes up and hops in there. With a restaurant or a bar, you can wipe down the seat and you can clean the dishes. I'm not
Filter the air.
walking around touching everything at a gym. It is for individual exercise, but they're touching all the weights
Yep.
and everything. If the gyms are open, I should assume that the bars and that should be open. They could put a distance in between the chairs if you're sitting up at the bar or you're at a table. You could take two, because it would be more financially responsible to have people in there
Mhm.
than just cutting off your dining area completely.
Right.
I don't know. That's just something.
Or I can go into a pool, into the 3-foot section without a mask, because you don't wear a mask when you're swimming.
Right.
It's common sense. And have none of my body wet and be completely exposed and expose other people, however far they may be from you. But I can't go into a restaurant
Right.
with a mask.
And the water parks are closed.
Right.
A water park is essentially a pool. It's a big pool with moving water.
Right.
And the bowling center just goes along with that too. You can wipe off a bowling ball.
Mm-hmm. That's almost one of the most non-contact things you can do. Like, seriously, there's lanes that before this thing happened, they would space you out, just because that's called being, like, using manners, is you don't go right next to each other.
And
If there's a lane open, you skip a lane, then go there. Why
Right,
do
I don't
that?
take my group and go sit next to your group when there's 10 other lanes.
Right.
And each group of lanes, each section has 2.
Right.
So there could be a gap. Me, no one. Me, no one. Me, no one. So then that's 6 feet. That's way over 6 feet. So bowling, I don't understand. Colleges, yeah, I guess some kids our age and older are a little.
I think the bottom line is this is really going to hurt the economy. As we are just starting to pick up and recover from the first shutdown, you're taking all these restaurants that are already struggling, all these businesses that are already struggling, all these movie theaters that were open for a month, if that, and we're shutting them down again.
Some movie theaters in general are struggling because buying a ticket now sometimes can run you $17.
Well, yeah, they got to pay extreme amounts to get the movie and then show it so many times. And
now that everyone's got Hulu, Amazon, Disney Plus,
right.
Why just wait 6 months and the movie's coming out and you can watch it for free?
And I'm definitely not against any of those platforms. They're awesome. I'm totally good. That's free enterprise.
It's convenient.
That's competition. But competition with the government who's shutting you down is not healthy competition.
It's interesting to think about when you look at some of these. Why is this there?
Yeah.
Why that shouldn't be open or this should be open? It's just.
Well, and all authority should be questioned.
Yeah.
You can't just take things
At
and
face
run
value.
with them. Yeah.
I don't know. Public transit.
So I think
It's interesting. It's one of those years. It's like, wow.
yeah, and I understand that it's hard for government officials to make decisions like that. But it's hard on the people too.
And you shouldn't question, like you said, you should question authority sometimes if you feel like
Question decisions made.
if you feel like it needs to be questioned. Question it.
Not necessarily don't listen to it, but
And don't do it to the point where nothing gets done.
Right.
Because if you do that, then yeah, nothing gets done. Nothing will change. There will be no progress.
Right.
So yeah, question. Don't be annoying about it. Find common ground so that it can be taken care of. I think that wraps up that section pretty good. If you guys have any pointers or anything that you'd like to
questions for us?
questions or anything about that, drop a comment, let us know. This week we have an inspirational quote it's a quote from one of our friends that we've met over our many years. And this is Joel's quote.
Those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Winston Churchill.
Follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and turn on notifications. Thanks for joining us, and as always, dissipate your aptitude.